Okay, hello all. It's Anni here, and welcome to my Caffeine-Free live channel. Today I have my sweet friend Mandy from Texas here with me. And of course, we're gonna continue our talk about our caffeine-free journey and our recovery journey after over 30 years of addiction. And we have been sharing all the things that we have been experiencing and learning in this journey. And we are here to reassure you that we all really do get well and there is life after caffeine addiction. So
Yes.
today we're gonna just do also a little bit summary things that we already have been speaking, because there have been a lot of lagging in these videos and I'm very sorry about that. And thank you guys that you have been commenting and telling, and you can always tell if there is some problem, so I try to fix that best that I can. So hope the connection and audio is now good, and you can always comment in the chat if you see that there's something that we haven't been noticing. So welcome all, and we will go to our topic. Do you wanna start, Mandy?
Yeah, so I just want to talk a lot about finding purpose today, even if you're having a bad day. And this is mainly for people who have quit and are going through post-acute withdrawal symptoms. I don't really like to call it syndrome. They're just symptoms. They're just symptoms that do fade slowly. And which I love the video that you posted, Ani, the other day about post-acute withdrawal and detox with Dr. Donnelly Snipes. That was a very informative video if people haven't watched that one yet.
Yes.
And it really talks about how this really is a true thing that we go through for some of us when we quit certain substances, and caffeine is 100% in that mix. You know, she talks a lot about alcohol. She talks a lot about opioids, benzos, but she does talk about stimulants in that video, which caffeine is a stimulant. And then there's other videos she has that she does specifically talk about caffeine and the adenosine and all that. And, you know, it is a drug and we're healing from that. So if there's other people on here that are still on caffeine, this info is great too. But basically, our whole goal is for people that fell off the mountain, people that are going through these post-acute withdrawal symptoms. We just wanted to give a little bit of, reassurance and hope, because it's just time. It really is. It really, really is. It's in the time we talk about this. The time is different for everybody. We're a little bit older. We were on the drug our whole life. It was definitely affecting our adrenals, our hormones. And so,
And our brain.
And our brain, of course, the nervous system. I mean, it's a central nervous system stimulant. So meaning, yes, a brain stimulant, but then the way it also affects other systems of the body, and definitely the adrenals and how that's all connected with the HPA axis. I mean, it's also scientific and all happening in our bodies. Some people can handle caffeine better than others. Doesn't mean that it's not affecting them. It is a drug. It's just some people are affected. We all say it's affected differently, but I don't know. It's still affecting people, which is a very controversial thing. But this is how we were affected and how we're healing. And it's our passion to share it. And just kind of wanted to talk about the benefits today. There's so many symptoms that we have gone through. And Annie, you already made your symptom video, and I haven't made mine yet. But it's basically, I could just say this, it's basically the same symptoms. I mean, give or take one or two. I mean, identical. When I was watching your video, I was like, oh yeah, check, check, check. But today I just wanted to focus on how much better it's been, like how different I am from when I was on the drug compared to like where I'm at now. I'll be at 3 years, and I think 3 or 4 days. I'll be 3 years on Sunday.
Yay! Congrats!
Thank you. On Sunday.
Amazing.
So that's exciting. I've been wanting to be at 3 years for, 3 years. And something about 3 years, I don't know. There's, a little, for some people, a little bit before, for some people, a little bit after. I think 3 years is really just a good turning point of so much positivity. And even if we say we're still healing, it's just because so many different factors, so many different things are healing. And so, Cato, I think he made his very, very first video in his garage when he was like, I think a month from 3 years. And if I didn't know any better, and he's almost at 9 years now. And if I didn't know any better, I'd probably think I was, 100%. But I just know, and plus being a female and having like the different hormone aspect from it, the cycle and everything that we have, maybe plays something into it. I don't know. But just from watching his other videos that he's made recently, he's like, he just didn't know because there wasn't many people ahead of him. He didn't talk to anybody really. He just kind of got through it himself, and he only knew what he was experiencing in the moment. Mm-hmm. And what we talk about a lot with the windows and waves, or the ups and downs, whatever you want to call it, the setbacks, whatever. And here's another thing too. It's never a setback. The only time you can have a setback is if you consume the drug that caused this. Yes. Yeah. I mean, the windows and the waves are the healing. We say setback, we say wave, and we really can get scared in the moment that it's like, it's back, or, something happened, and it's just part of the process. It's just the way that the brain heals. It's the way that the brain and body heal. That's why we get those moments of relief sometimes. And it might not be complete. It's, not complete 100% relief, but relief is relief. And you know the difference. You know the difference of when it's like really, really intense compared to that relief.
Yes.
But there's so many dang symptoms that even if you have 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 or 15, 20, however many you have, if you look back every year, you look back and you see that they are getting better. There's some type, even if you feel like there's not much improvement going on, through time, you do see, okay, I'm sleeping a little bit better now. Like, my digestion still might be a little off for the moment, but I'm sleeping better. So, okay, that's an improvement. Or maybe the next week or a month later, your digestion starts to improve. So you're excited about that, but yet you start having like headaches again or something. So I think when we're going through this, we're constantly always experiencing some type of symptom, so that it feels like there's not really any improvements because you just feel bad about something. But then if you really think about it, you're like, oh yeah, my digestion is better now than it was. And you kind of forget, like, what was it? I had something the other day. I had something like that I thought about that I hadn't felt in a while. And like I used to get this muscle cramp in my chest, of course, over my heart. So it's like, why couldn't it have been on the other side? And Cato talks about that in some of his videos. He's like, well, we have muscles in our chest. And so it's not a heart attack. It's not your heart, but for some reason it's over the left side. And it would, I would think about it. I would wonder, and of course I did have my heart checked. And then all of a sudden, and you think every symptom we have, we think it's going to last forever. And then all of a sudden it just starts to kind of fade away after weeks, months, however long. And I was just thinking about it the other day. I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't had that cramp over my chest in a while. And I would get something under my sternum and my rib, like this really sore kind of pinchy feeling there. Like that was really strange. That's just stuff that I don't know if it was part of it or not, or just, what I think it is, part of just high stress when the body's healing. I just, some people's necks get cramped up, or their lower back, or it's just part of the body being under stress. Because I'm so glad that you posted that video that Dr. Donnelly Snipes talks about when we're going through this, the body is under stress
Yes.
while it's healing.
Yeah.
Because getting off of the drug, it's serious. It's a lot of healing happening, and healing's not beautiful, but it's just part of the process. And so that's really, really good information. We just don't, we want pleasure and joy all the time as humans. That's why we seek drugs, because we want to feel good. And then we get, addicted, and then our brain gets addicted, and we think that we have to have it. And we've been on it our whole lives as kids. And so it's like, well, I don't feel good without it, but you will feel good. You just have to go through the healing process. And then it's like, you're a kid again. And that's something that you and I both wanted to talk about today, that I think it really does. I've heard that before. It really does feel like a kid. You feel, and I'm getting there. I really am getting to those moments. I've had many moments where I feel like a kid again. But yeah, so just wanted to talk today about my improvements, but also in that, just saying that, I just wanted to be clear about when we are having some good moments, the further along we get, not really putting so much emphasis on an excitement on feeling better and getting kind of carried away and getting all hyped up. I think that was a good word you used earlier.
Yeah.
Getting hyped up about it and excited. I mean, it is exciting, but then at the same time, that's why I was told to just humble myself. It's such a beautiful thing when you think about it, because if you get too caught up in like, I'm better, I'm feeling so good, yay, and then a week or two later, you hit some healing symptoms, then you can get really, the flip side of that, the yin and the yang of it, the flip side is that you can get really bummed out. And so humble yourself in that too. So it's just like, you just got to get through it. Just let the symptoms come, let them go. So I do want to talk about the improvements. I do want to talk about feeling better at moments and being excited about that, but then also just understanding that it's okay if you feel good at one moment and then you feel bad the next moment. It can really make us feel even crazier at the time. It's just like, why is it happening this way? And that's just how we heal. And so that's why I love those videos that talk about the post-acute withdrawal, because it says it. We're experiencing it as, I don't think Dr. Donnelly Snipes has experienced it. So she's giving information, and then we're able to say, here it is in black and white. We're experiencing it. And when she talks about the list, when she goes, oh, anxiety, depression, anhedonia, depression, this, that, it just makes it so seems so easy. It's like, oh, the anxiety, the insomnia. But when you're actually going through it, and it's like, well, let me tell you what it feels like. Let's make a video where it's like what it feels like to feel that way, not just. I think that there's something missing when they just list it like that. Like, it's very like, oh yeah, just insomnia, just depression, just anxiety. It's like there's so much emotion and feeling and just intensity of that list that is missing in those videos. And so that's why we're here. So it's like, yes, she's giving the information, but here we are saying we know what it feels like to feel the anxiety, the depression, and like how many symptoms are under anxiety.
Absolutely, so many. Like even if you
it's
watch
like,
the list, it's a long list.
Yes, and she's just like, anxiety, not dogging it or anything. It's just like, I'm just saying there's so much more to it than just putting a little word there. So when we get it, we get what it feels like, but we also get what it's like to have gone through this for 3 years and endured the ups and the downs and knows what that feels like, and how slowly it gets better. And so again, what I was saying about Cato and him being at 3 years and making that first video, he didn't make another one until his 5 years. There was a gap, and then you can tell the ones, even later after that, just the most recent ones, he's so different. And so, but he was functional, and I can feel that way. Like I took my dad to lunch yesterday for Father's Day, and we went to the mall and got him a wallet. And here again, I don't want to gloat about it because maybe this weekend I might have a down day or something. I don't know, but it is exciting to know that when you do have those better days, that just means eventually you're going to have those days like mostly all the time. It just depends on how long your journey is going to take.
Yeah.
But the goal is recovery, no matter how long it takes for the individual. And she talks about that too. Like it's a very individual process because we're all unique with our own factors of individuality. So that whole comparison thing that we talk about a lot, like try not to compare yourself.
Okay, I did lost Mandy, so let's see where there. Yes, I did lost you, but now you're back.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Even though it's so important, like even though to say Cato was better at that 3 years, he just really puts emphasis on in another video that it just got better and better. So that's very important to me. But yeah, so.
Yeah, it's a good stuff. And thank you for sharing. Like, I feel the same, and so much about that self-realization have been happening after my last wave. Like I really want to point also about this brain healing, because I really do believe and have been seeing that caffeine, it affects our brain. And after that, using since childhood, I really have been like experiencing so many stuff, like feeling different parts of the brain healing. But now the frontal part have been the latest. Like I have been getting like my focus back slowly. I have better focus. I also have the better ability to create stuff than when I was caffeinated, because I was like constantly in that high stress mood. So I was kind of like pie-brained. I did concentrate what I did wanted to do, but there was so much stress in it what I was doing. Like I could never do things like really like well that I would like. I was like, and I did use that stress a lot for exercise. That's because that's what it was my way to use that. But I was so much having rage, and now when my emotional life have been also healing, I still feel that I'm sensitive when something happens. I get like some adrenaline, and also I get very happy if I feel some happy stuff. Like those emotions are also like balancing out, which is really nice. And that's what you said about that feeling like a child again. Like today when I was like swimming in the rain, I was just like, just there was nothing else but me and the rain and the lake, like when I was a kid, like all the time. So that makes me in the moment very emotional, of course, because there has been so long time feeling like that. And like many of us who have been suffered in this thing called caffeineism, it's a term for caffeine addicts that have been like addicted to this drug without knowing that. It's really like changed our thinking. And many of us, we haven't been aware while we were living in that caffeine consciousness in our head, that there actually is natural way to live. And that's actually very sad how the drug is so common and how so many people are living in that state. And I don't now judge everyone. I just want to point this out, that it really is a poison and a drug. And when you start to recover, you kind of like have that natural state of those brain neurotransmitters. They start to communicate again, but it just doesn't happen for many of us like right away. So sometimes some part of the brain can be healing and another part is not, like it's not the linear. So that's why all these because I get also the comments about, Anni, tell me about those scary brain symptoms. So those are the healing symptoms, and that's how it goes. So
100%.
don't get frustrated.
Yes. Yeah, I love it. Thank you. That is beautiful. Like feeling like a kid, the way we were on it, how and we didn't know, it was like all the things I did in my life in my 20s, like always being late for work or, all that adrenaline, getting into fights. I mean, we've talked about that before, getting in, and I didn't even know I was getting into fights. And just that constantly having that adrenaline pumping through my body. And I thought that was energy and it's just, now I know what it was doing to me. And now I feel so different. Like I can sit here and I can just talk and the words are, and I wrote some stuff down, but like, I just am talking and it's like, the words are coming out of my mouth and I know what I want to say without even like, it's so weird. I could not have done that 4 or 5 years ago. I would have been and I might be all over the place a little bit compared to the way I will be in like 2 or 3 years, who knows? But like, so that's an improvement. I might not be doing it amazingly. I don't know, but I am so different than the way I was on the drug.
Yeah.
It is incredible. I talk about it all over the place. I would have been a mess, but I was used to living in that state on the drug and I was high. I was, blocking that adenosine and all that dopamine was just blah, blah, blah in me and making me feel good in the moment. And I don't know if other people have done other types of drugs or anything, but it's very, they feel good in the moment, it's like, that's why people do them. And that's why people need their caffeine. My nephew, he is 20. He's one of those that has to have his coffee in the morning. Like, I can't function without my pot of coffee. Like, don't talk to me until I've had my coffee kind of thing. And it's like you don't, I think when they're experiencing that, like they really do think, I don't know. It seems like people think that this is the way that it is. And now that we've been off of it for 3 years, I really see it this way. And I know that this is the way it is. I think people really, really do believe that they cannot function without it because you can't.
Yeah. Yes.
But I think that they believe that like they have to have it to function, period. But it's like, it's so crazy how it's like almost like I can't even wrap my brain around it. I know what it is, but it's like they think that they need it to function because they do. In the moment, you're going to have withdrawal symptoms if you don't have it. But it's like, but you don't need it. You just have to go through this for however long it's going to take for your body to heal. And then you'll feel good. Like just recently I've been waking up early. I still am a little bit tired when I wake up, but it's nothing like the extreme exhaustion. Yeah. And you talked about that in your last video, how it is different. Like to just be tired now, I know, and we know that will even go away, right? Like, how would it not? Like, we were so extreme emergency exhaustion, then extreme exhaustion, then the fatigue, and then now it's just tiredness. Like, it is different. That's improvement. But yet, if we didn't say focus on the improvements, we'd be like, yeah, I'm still tired. That sucks. I'm tired all the time. I'm tired. Well, at least it's not emergency exhaustion. Like, that's improvement. But I'm tired. No, it's okay. You're still healing. Like, we just have to learn how, and I think we do eventually, we just learn how to accept it and to surrender. So those are my favorite words: humble yourself, acceptance, surrender. It's really true. And then I think another thing, it's like, well, how do you do this? How do you get through every day? I think one thing when I'm having like a really, really intense moment or just like, feeling like just kind of like, I can't do this. Not that I can't do this anymore moment, but like, just, oh my God, this is so hard. I'll stop myself no matter what. And I think you're sober, you're healing. Like I always say that to myself. I stop myself in my tracks because yes, we talk about caffeine a lot, but because of caffeine and because of the anxiety that it was causing me, I did reach for other substances to make me feel better. And then I got addicted to those and I'm not on any of them anymore.
Yay.
And how amazing is that, right? So it's like, if you're freed from caffeine and you're going through this, that is something to be so proud about. Caffeine-free,
Yeah.
right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's caffeine-free life. We're not in caffeineism anymore. And we were
We were.
both in caffeineism,
Yeah,
truly.
truly.
So affected and just living our lives and functioning. I mean, we were functioning, but we were not living an optimal life by any means. We were learning how to survive in a state of chaos.
Yay.
That's how amazing the body is, and that's how amazing we are, that we were able to adapt in that chaotic state.
And
That's
you are too, guys. Like that's how the
everybody.
amazing the human body. Everybody.
Everybody, yes. Thank you. Yes, everybody.
That's
Absolutely. And that's another thing too. I have been feeling, and I felt this before around my 2 years. I felt, and then the wave, of course, a lot of extreme healing is happening, but I'm starting to feel it again so intensely, just like overwhelming love, connection, just peace, and like just understanding that we're all connected. But especially with people that, already have a connection with, or I've made connections with, loved ones. I just feel like with you, Ani, like I can't wait to go visit, and just like I picture us fishing together and just sitting there listening to the birds. Like it just makes me so excited. And then, in the moment of the deep, intense healing, we kind of lose that. And it's not that we lose it. It's just, that's why we just have to get out of the way of the healing and let the body do its thing in those moments, because it does just seem to disappear for a while only because of the healing, but it does come back. It does. And if it comes and goes, that's okay too. It's a beautiful thing though. And so when we always talk about this, like to go through, to be completely free, and then to start going through this healing process. And that's another thing I do. I say I'm free, and it's like, I always tell myself, you're healing. Like you're doing something that not a lot of people are doing. You're doing something that's so hard. And like so many people are getting off of alcohol and other drugs. They're still on caffeine even. And so I'll sit there and tell myself that. So wherever you're at in your journey, and you're thinking about getting off of it, or you want to, or you're off of it, and you might still be consuming alcohol, whatever, at least you're taking the steps to better your life, and it will organically happen, I believe. And, I would have wanted this at 16. I wish I would have known everything, but I didn't. I didn't come off of everything until 41. And I can look at that as, we talked about this the other day, but it's always good to little recap. But it's about growth, that journey of growth. It's like if we didn't go through it, we wouldn't have learned, and we wouldn't have experienced it ourselves to be able to help others and tell people how awesome it can be to be off of a drug that's totally manipulating your mind.
Yeah.
It's freedom.
Yeah, it's like I did experience kind of like I was feeling like some kind of mild psychosis when I was in caffeine. Like that's the way that I could describe. Like it sneaks in. Like maybe in my 20s, I was just always go and partying, and I did also drink at that time. And then even I did leave alcohol. Some point, like I thought that I'm gonna live healthy life, and there was all these supplements and all the stuff that I was doing. I was always highly caffeinated. Even when I was going to the bar, I thought that those other people, they are drinking, but I'm just taking in my caffeine. And now I still see those dreams when I'm in the little child, and I eat chocolate and I take like hot chocolate, and I see those dreams when I'm a child and I use caffeine. So that tells me something about this substance, what it does to my brain. And that's why your brain many times it lies in this journey when you quit addiction, any addiction, alcohol, some people weed or whatever. But with caffeine, what we are hearing, people always say it's the worst. And I really think it's the worst also because if you know what caffeine is, it's the poison. It works a little bit differently than some other drugs. Even these withdrawals are very much the same. But who knows what all it does, because how many studies there are, like people like, for example, us over 30 years use, and you start to like study about this stuff. Like, where are the studies? Nobody wants to even like quit cold turkey and go through this.
No.
And yeah, I'm gonna go cold turkey after 30 years of using. Let's do the study.
Yeah, no one's even tried to quit the caffeine. Yeah. Yep. That's so true. It's like, it's just that one drug. People are like, oh yeah, alcohol was the last, they wanted to get healthy and work out and stuff. And they're still drinking a little bit of alcohol. And they're like, alcohol is that one last thing. And I want to ask them, well, what about caffeine? Like, who knows what that's doing to that person? But they're going to work, they're going to work, they're working out, they're functioning.
Yes, very much.
But they don't know that maybe their acid reflux or their tinnitus. Oh, let's talk about focusing on the improvements. And I've talked about this before, but I just think it's such a neat symptom that has pretty much disappeared. My ringing in my ear, my tinnitus, had it all the time on caffeine. I never even knew what it was. Mm-hmm. And now it is probably like 4 seconds ringing. Barely hear it. It's just like it'll pop up. But it used to be like 30, 45 seconds. I talk about that a lot because that's a symptom to me that is just so not even that's not a type of symptom for me that disrupted my daily life, right? Now, if it would have happened consistently, if it would have been ringing like that 24/7, then yeah, that would have been a disruptor for sure. But it would just pop up, once a week, every other week. And it would be like 30, 45 seconds. It would be like, that's so weird. Is that angels? Is that God talking to me? Like, I didn't know what it was. Because it kind of sounds like this, like, and
yeah.
But so that's what I'm saying. Like, I swear that was caffeine because it's going away. Like, what else could it have been? And so that is a symptom from caffeine that I didn't think was a big deal, that I never would have known if I wanted to quit. And so it's like, what other symptoms do other people have that they think are just normal life things from something else, or just the way that they were designed, or something that was from the drug? Because I just don't think that that's normal. And there's been many times where I had gotten off of alcohol. And this is why I think, just from what we've experienced too, but because you had already quit alcohol before and wasn't a big drinker, but I still was. But I did in 2019, I did quit alcohol for a year, but my caffeine consumption like tripled, and my PMS was worse that whole year. It was way bad. It was really bad. Mm-hmm. And excuse me. And then I quit. And then over the last 3 years, because then I had quit alcohol for the year, and then started like kind of relapsed on that for 2 months. And then I quit everything all at once, June of 2020. And my world turned upside down from the caffeine, quitting the caffeine, starting the post-acute withdrawal. I think I went through a little acute, and then post-acute withdrawal just took me over like a bulldozer. But that didn't really happen when I quit the alcohol. So I think alcohol is huge, but it's huge to quit. But that just goes to show what the caffeine was doing to me and how my body was truly withdrawing and changing back to the state that it's in now and getting to. So it's something to be talked about for sure. We're trying to get this message out about how it's affecting people, but that's another thing too. We can't just tell people that are drinking it, even if we're saying all the benefits, they're never really gonna just be like, okay, I think I'm gonna quit today.
Yeah.
Like,
no, it's have to be your own choice, and that's why like we share this. And one thing that I wanted to talk about with you also, Mandy, because many people asking about that dopamine, and I also experienced that very low dopamine. So how about your thoughts about that when we were like caffeinated, it's like kind of like felt like that extra dopamine was always there, and we was always like having that high dopamine feeling. And now when we have been recovering, we are just so low dopamine because our body doesn't just know what to do because those receptors doesn't function. Or how did the Dr. Snipes did explain that they don't really, with time they start to just search that dopamine, but when it comes in, it knows how to catch that and use that, but something like that, if I did understand it right. But when it doesn't do that yet, so what are your thoughts about the dopamine and the lack of dopamine?
Yeah, so with any drug, most drugs, I mean, so many different neurotransmitters. You know, the GABA is the calming one, the breaks, that's what alcohol really works on. So we're getting jacked up from the caffeine, and we're getting a lot of the dopamine and the glutamate. I think Dr. Snipes talks about the glutamate. So it's the dopamine. She says dopamine-genic system. So the dopamine and the glutamate are the gas pedal, and the GABA is the brakes. So if you got a lot of caffeine in your system and you got that gas pedal going, and you got the anxiety, then people want to reach for the alcohol to work on the GABA to calm them down.
Yeah.
So benzos and alcohol work on GABA receptors. But she talks about in other videos how when one neurotransmitter is out of whack, then they're all out of whack. But what's interesting, this is just kind of what I've learned along the way. And I like to think of it like with a harder drug. Caffeine's a hard drug, but so I shouldn't say harder drug, but let's just use caffeine. So you're consuming it, your brain is making that extra dopamine, that extra glutamate. If you have too much dopamine and glutamate, that's when you can feel very manic, or you can feel very schizophrenic or like psychosis-y, like you were saying. And I have done other substances, not consistently by any means. And they make you feel that way, but like 10 times more, because it's just more concentrated. Caffeine can be made in a powder form as well.
Yeah.
But we just put it over the bean. I mean, if somebody were to ingest a lot of powdered caffeine, it can cause harm, big harm.
Hey.
So yeah, I think there was a guy that put like 3 scoops. He didn't realize that he put 3 scoops of the powdered form, and not good for the heart at all. But so if the brain is getting that high amount of the drug, and it's getting too much, it'll stop the production of dopamine itself, and it pretty much does that anyway, I think. But it doesn't want too much excitement, because then you get too excited and too happy. You can get that like super psychosis-y feeling, and so it's really cool how the brain won't make it anymore. And so if you're putting caffeine in your body daily, which is what we do when we're on it, pretty much, then the brain definitely is like, okay, I don't need to make it anymore. So it stops making it on its own, because it's getting it from the drug. It's like, why do I need to make it anymore if it's coming in somehow? And the brain doesn't know how it's coming in. It just knows it's coming in. And so it wants that perfect level. And then tolerance comes into play, and you need more of it and all that. But if you quit the drug cold turkey, even if you wean, I think it can still cause problems. If you quit it cold turkey, it's not getting it from the substance anymore. The brain hasn't been making it for however long on its own. So you quit, you're flat as a pancake. Like you're low pancake, you're like in the ground. Yeah. Nothing made sense to me. Nothing made sense. I would ask my husband, what is life for? Like, I didn't understand anything. I didn't understand why we did things, or why things felt good before. Like, I thought it was all a lie that things felt good before. It was all dopamine, it was all just because you're not making, like, you're not getting it from the substance. Your brain's not making it. You're just, you're
like a sitting duck. Like, there's nothing that can like make you do anything or interest when it's intense.
Empty. Yeah. And then like, it got to the point where I think I was so flat that like, it was kind of not cool, but I'm happy. I'm happy it kind of happened this way, because I didn't crave it at that point, because my body was like such in shock, I think, that I wasn't like the next day, like, I think I need caffeine. Well, I did try to drink coffee. And then my nervous system was so in shock at that moment that I took one sip, and I was just like, no. And that was the last I had June 24th of 2020. So I made June 25th my quit date because I did try it June 24th. So I don't, even though I had one sip, I don't count June 24th.
Yeah.
But anyway, so eventually, you know, we always talk about baseline. So like when we're on drugs, our baseline gets so high to where like normal pleasurable things like fishing at the lake, spending time with a loved one, having sex, eating, none of that tops getting high. So like all those things just kind of, even on the drug, don't really feel good. You want things that are going to make you feel good, like being on the drug. So all those things, your baseline is just so different level. Then you quit, your baseline's like in the dumps, and then you slowly, because there's so many different systems in the body being healed, the brain's doing it, everything, that like it slowly does start making it back on its own, which is cool. So you're not getting it anymore from the drug. In time, the brain's like, I don't think it's coming back.
Yeah.
It wants it even if we don't want it. It thinks it needs it to survive.
Yes.
But so eventually the brain slowly starts making the dopamine back, and then food again becomes pleasurable. Spending time with loved ones becomes pleasurable.
Yes.
Being in nature becomes pleasurable. Because when I first quit, I was like, being in nature, like, ugh, like who wants to be in nature? Like who wants to be around anybody? Get away from me, you know, traveling, ugh. Like I couldn't think of anything good. Nothing good made sense. Nothing simple. And now simple life is what we crave and want and think is amazing. Like it's better than ever because we're working properly. So the brain is beautiful that it does go back to neuroplasticity, and it does start to make that dopamine again. It just takes time. We don't know why it's so much time. We do, like why those windows and waves happen. We just can't feel like crap the whole time. I do believe, even if you don't want to believe it, and I do have to be more sensitive that other people heal differently, that like we do get small, I do hear from so many people, you do get small little windows of relief, even if they're short, very, very short-lived. All that process is just doing its thing. And now here we are at 3 years, and a year past 3 years, way past 3 years now. It's just, when I hear it's and I would hear from Cato, it's a process. Like I just didn't understand. Okay, it's a process. Well, what do you mean? Like it is. It's a journey. It is a process. We don't understand in the moment because we just want to feel good that it's, however long it's going to take, but it does happen. And that's why we are feeling so much better. Even like right now in this moment, I feel so good, and I feel a lot of purpose. I feel a lot of motivation. I still have a little bit of brain fog.
Yeah.
It's normal, and I know I'm a little tired, and I know that even that. But like I said earlier, it's not the emergency exhaustion.
No.
And there's so many other things like the love and the connection and like the excitement and the moving forward and is all there. I just know that all that other stuff will eventually get even better. And that's so cool.
It's so cool. Like then when I started to do YouTube and these videos and even lives, I was always know that there is something going on in my brain. Like I never wasn't normal. Even I did feel the calmness at moments, and I did have the windows when I was like more calm, and I knew that now I'm already better in that state that when I was caffeinated, but still so much healing were going on. And I really have been feeling like if the brain would be like the little factory, there is all those employers, and when we are caffeinated, they just have to adapt what the brain does. Like, okay, we have to do more these receptors and that because you put the drug in, we don't have any choice. And then you quit, like we did quit cold turkey, kind of accidentally, but it's like a brain thinks like, what the hell, like what, like it's like the lazy, like what it's an emergency. It's like a huge shock. Even that kind of shock can even kill somebody, but like, yeah, of course it didn't do that, but like your brain's gonna crave the drug long time. This of course depends the person, like we have been, but my brain, it was like anxiety was lying to me so much. Like that's why, because you feel so low and those receptors, they still not communicate before they adapt that, okay, we really have to do some work here. That drug is not gonna come back. Like what the hell? So that's the place where many of you are now. Like the drug is not gonna come back. And your brain's gonna work without that. And it's doing the work, but it's not like this if you have been in the drug over 30 years.
Yes, stop the finger. No, yeah, 30, 35, 40 years, 50 years, some people. It's not going to take a couple weeks. It just makes sense. And who knows how many adenosine receptors we had in our body. Because if it's blocking the adenosine, what happens is it makes more. It's like, well, okay, we need more adenosine to get sleepy. So then the body will go, I'm going to produce more. And then you suck down more caffeine, and the more tolerance you have, and the more you're sucking down. And then the more those adenosine receptors are being blocked, and then the body's like making more and more and more. And this is going on for 30, 35 years, every single day. And then you quit cold turkey and you've got all these adenosine receptors, and now there's no more caffeine to flood them up. You're exhausted.
You're gonna be hell of a tired, guys. Like
hell of a tired.
Like prepare to sleep 2 years or 3 years. No, but
right.
But like, and then we have the insomnia also. Like that's also like a kinky part of this. Like we are so tired and sleepy, but in other hand, we have so much adrenaline and anxiety, some of us, that we do wake up in that adrenaline and panic, and it's a process before everything calms down. And
that real deep insomnia, that with that high cortisol and high adrenaline, that feels so icky. But like I'll wake up still. Lately I've been waking up because every month is different. I'm always some type of, I can tell it's some type of healing thing going on with every, we talk about that a lot with our cycle, females. And I know it's different for men, but that's just how I feel it in my cycle. Always something different. And this month I've been waking up at like 3 a.m. It's like I'll wake up and I'm like, oh, I bet it's 3 or 3:30. And then I'll look and it's 3:30. I'm like, but it's not that high adrenaline or high cortisol. And then I usually have to go to the restroom. And then sometimes I lay there and think for like 30 minutes or an hour, or sometimes I can go right back to sleep. And if I'm just laying there thinking, I go back to sleep, eventually. And it doesn't bother me too bad, because I'm just thankful that I'm still sleeping. I'm thankful that it's not that crazy cortisol insomnia. So I just deal with it. And I know I actually know someone who that was one of their very last symptoms to go in their past 3 years. So, but so many other symptoms have been better. So,
yes, that's so true. So, like the insomnia, it can be one of the last symptom for some people. Like for me, it's definitely have been, but of course, it's nothing compared what I went through and what it was before. Like even sometimes I wake up and like I have all these thoughts that I just want to think and plan and stuff. And I actually read a book, and there was about that awakening, like before, in the times when we were like cavemen and cavewomen, we have that like survival thing in our body that we need to wake up in the nighttime just to check that there is no threat like lions or anything. So it's also part of the brain it's natural to activate, but it's not something like during these withdrawals or post-acute withdrawals that we are panicky or we don't get back to sleep, or our brain is so like hyped up with all the thoughts. But it's just like natural that you can wake up one time in the night and you are like, maybe you go to the toilet and then you go back to sleep. Like that kind of wake up, it's very normal. We have to remember that. So that's when it comes back to.
I love that. Because you might think, oh my God, I'm waking up to pee. I'm still healing. It's like, no, that's normal. Then you go back to sleep.
Yes. And I wanted to read you something about these post-acute withdrawals that internet gave me, the AI gave me this answer. I think this was very well said, because many times when we look at the internet, there can be hard to find some stuff, and you can just wonder why they want to hide this information. It's all about making money because of people addictions. It's not funny at all, but that's how it is. So I'm gonna just read you about what AI said. So
yeah, this is cool.
Post-acute withdrawal syndrome refers to a collection of persistent withdrawal symptoms that can occur after acute phase of substance withdrawal has subsided. While PAWS is often associated with substance abuse such as drugs or alcohol, it can also occur with other addictive substances, including caffeine. The duration of PAWS can vary widely depending on several factors, including the substance used, the length and intensity of use, individual physiology, and overall health. In general, PAWS can last for weeks, months, or even longer. However, it's important to note that the severity and duration of PAWS can vary significantly among individuals. Some common symptoms of PAWS: mood swings, fluctuating in moods, ranging from anxiety and depression to irritability and restlessness, cravings, intense desires or cravings for the substance, fatigue, persistent feelings of tiredness, low energy and reduced motivation, cognitive difficulties, problems with memory, concentration and overall cognitive function, sleep disturbance, insomnia, vivid dreams, or other sleep-related issues. It's important to remember that PAWS is a complex and individualized experience. So that's.
Yes, that is from AI asking AI. It's like information is in there.
Hey, I know something. But,
right?
Yes, but yeah, I think we did put a lot of information out. It's close to 1 hour. Now, in this point, I could ask if there is people in the chat that you would like to ask something about. Mandy is here now, so Mandy is a very smart person, so ask anything.
You are.
Well, I'm definitely smarter than when I was caffeinated, because then I wasn't very smart.
I wasn't. I wasn't. I was really ding dong. I really was.
Ding dong.
Ding dong. Seriously.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus. I hope that we didn't lag today.
Yes, for me it did seem very good, but nobody is complaining, so there is, think there are now 4 people. But yes, we're gonna still do some lives when the time goes by, and I hope this one did help you to give that reassurance, because many of you are messaging me now that it's really bad, the anhedonia is bad, and does this ever end? So yes, it does.
And something I want to say, and hopefully someone will maybe say hi from the chat, but and we've said this before, but us sharing our journey and being at 3 years and not saying we're 100% recovered, it's amazing. Well, it is amazing, but for us to keep sharing our truth, because it is our truth. Mm-hmm. I just want to try to give this to people that are behind us, that if you're looking at our journey and getting scared or worried, I just want to point out how it is so much better, first of all. But even if I had my wave close to 2.5 years and you had your wave at 35 months, mm-hmm. that the fact that happened to us in our time, that is our journey and everything. But if someone is behind us at 2 years or 22 months or wherever they're at, then they are still healing too. So if they're experiencing something and they have a lot of symptoms still, then they're still healing. And to think of like, I guess people think of a certain time frame. People think 2 or 3 years, you're supposed to be 100%. And that's where we're trying to, we're not even trying, like we're just sharing our experience in the moment. And I think in time that will kind of shift the way that this really is, like the way that this whole kind of process really does play out, because I think that there's so much information missing just because there's not a lot of research on it. And we're not trying to like hurt anybody or scare anybody. The point is we heal. Like that is the truth. Recovery, being recovered is where we're headed. But I think there's something missing in how long it takes for some people.
Yeah.
And so if you're behind us and you're still healing, like you're on the right track, like you're still healing. So I think some people might get frustrated or get mad. And I know someone was thinking that maybe it was your flu or something like that that's made you, and I think that people want it to be, because this kind of happened to me too. When I was at 2 years, I had heard of a friend of mine who is now past 4 years. And honestly, and let me just say, she is doing amazing. Like she's so happy and doing so well. And she's about to travel to Europe and like, she's doing great. And so it does slowly, that just proves one person at a time. It slowly does get better like that. But she was good at 3 years, where I'm at now. But there was just so much more improvement to be had for her. And she is seeing that extra improvement now. But she had a little bit of a dip when I was around my 2 years. And I remember thinking to myself, because this is just how we think, I was like, oh, she's eating too much sugar or something.
Yeah.
Like she's
Yes.
doing
Or
something.
she did exercise, like many of my viewers can say, but she started to do over exercise, so that's why she did go the wave. No, nothing to do with that. My opinion.
Yeah, and for me,
or flu.
some people thought maybe it's because I was carnivore or because my beloved Schnauzer passed away. And I do think it caused me extra stress, but I don't think it caused me to go into an extreme wave like that. I think they just happen.
Yes.
Just like your wave happened. It just happened because we have both had, like I got the flu last month when I was at 35 months in your time frame, and I did not go into a wave at all.
Yes.
That wasn't the time that my body was supposed to go into one like it did last fall and winter. So it's just, I think that's really important to talk about or to share. So if you're behind us and you're wherever you're at, the point is that you are still healing. And then like in a year, if you're still healing and you get to where we are now, but you're a lot better, but you still have some stuff here and there, these videos, instead of in the moment, they might piss people off or scare people. Just like my friend she didn't piss me off, but it was just like, my brain did go there. She's got to be doing something else. But now I see in time, a year later, it's just still part of the process, and I get it. And then I see how much better she's doing now. I see how much better I'm doing now a year later, that slow improvement. And so my whole point is for people that are behind us still healing, even if you don't see it now, the part of the process, you will see it. You'll see it clearly. And hopefully maybe you're 2 months away from healing or 2 weeks away from it, but wherever you're at in your journey, you're at in your journey. Like we can't control, no one can control that. And that's when the whole thing of the acceptance and the surrender comes in, and the humbling yourself comes into play, and just letting the time do its thing, So I just wanted to talk about that a little bit more, and something we talked about in the last video, just to end with, because it was lagging. I just want to say it again. Just please practice being kind to others.
Yes.
Because you never know what someone else is going through.
Yeah.
And, if you look at their journey and you think, if you're not going through it, then don't worry about it. Why are you worried?
You are not even here. If I say one thing, that when people are recovered, they are not watching this. Is the 100% sure what we know. When you are completely recovered, you do anything else but watch these videos.
Exactly. You're just living your beautiful life.
Yes.
You're busy.
100%.
You're catching up. You're making up for lost time. You're your brain is so different. It's such a different, and I'm even getting that way. Like I love talking about this just because of the fact that like what caffeine did to me for 35 years. But there's going to be a time when I don't want to talk about. I know that that's going to happen. I'm
Yes,
not going to
yes.
talk about it anymore.
That's why I'm
So
so happy to have you here now because
right, right, man.
this.
I'm so happy to be here because we can do this for another 6 months, a year, who knows, and then we'll probably just be like, okay, we made all these videos. They're here for anybody to see when they want to see them, and you
Yeah.
probably know we're out like traveling, water skiing, singing
Yes.
at a karaoke show, whatever we're doing, we're
Yeah.
having fun, enjoying ourselves, just
Yeah.
doing the simplest of things. So
Yeah, like you go back to living your life, what you enjoy, and that is very different for everyone. Like we all have the different dreams. Like whatever is your passion, you're gonna do that, and whatever is mine and Mandy's, we're gonna do that. And I also
it's
wanna
true.
say that the extra stress, a little bit of like extra stress, definitely can ramp up the symptoms. Many people say that. I did experience that too. But does it cause the wave? I
Right.
really don't think that anymore because now I've seen so many people who have had the big wave, some 2 years, some four, maybe some up till close to five, and that's just how the brain heals and what you have been telling me, Mandy. So like I'm really a huge believer of these healing waves and healing symptoms
Yeah,
that it
for
just
sure, for
happens.
sure. Yeah. So, I mean, for example, like for my school, I'm in summer school right now and it's like real fast pace and I can get really stressed with it. And then in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, am I going to like crash or something? And I just calm myself down. Like, this is so silly to get so upset about these silly little projects I'm doing and stuff. But so in the moment, sometimes I can get really worked up, but I never crash.
Yeah.
So yeah, the stress can while we're healing. I mean, eventually, because that's one of the symptoms. We cannot of post-acute withdrawal. We just don't handle stress very well.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, that's how you know you're more recovered. You can handle what is exercise. Exercise is a stressor. We can handle things, with more ease, more stressful type situations with ease. And that's when we know, wow, we've really come so far. Cause that's a sign right there to be able to handle more stress. And I said that earlier too, in other videos. And this is so huge for me. Getting a flat tire or something like really trivial used to stress the crap out of me. I thought it was the end of the world, and things like that really just seem so much easier now when things happen. So handling stress is different for everybody's different stressors can people can experience them differently, and something that might be stressful to me might not be stressful to you, and things like that.
Yes.
But the more we heal, the more we'll be able to handle those things, and they'll just be like easy peasy.
Yes, thank you so much, Mandy. So much
Yeah.
good information, and thank you all the viewers. Comment video, share if you feel sharing, and then this could help somebody, your friend or loved one. And we will see you another video again. So, and have a nice weekend. And we here in Finland, we celebrate the midsummer party. If some Finnish people are watching, have a nice Juhannus to everybody. It's Juhannus. So, and be nice. Don't drink too much if you're a drinker and watch this. Many people are drowning in this this weekend in Finland because of Juhannus. Yeah, it's really sad, but it's true. Like this is a huge party weekend of Finnish people are just drinking and drinking. Finnish people are drinkers, also caffeine people, but just always keep safe, and the best life is the drug-free life. That's what we believe here. So
For sure, 100%.
see you guys. Bye.